Hi there, welcome to I Alone Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Scorpio energy, and we're going to do this 10 card spread, and then we're going to read it from a couple different perspectives because people are kind of at different emotional maturity levels in their Scorpio energy. Scorpio energy is emotional water sign, and in high vibe, it's kind of about exploring the mysteries of life emotionally. And it also, I feel, talks about the fact that we're emotionally complex human beings, and some people don't even know themselves very well, much less to try to be in a relationship and get to know someone else. You know, we can be confused about kind of why we do what we do, why we feel how we feel, what we think. And, to work through all of that and kind of get clear about how we feel and get clear about how we think to get to the truth of what our truth is. Some people don't do that, and some people could give up on it. And some shadowy Scorpio can be, yeah, no, that's too confusing, and I don't want to deal with it. And we can choose not to, and some people choose not to. Just kind of people who might be happy being in relationships, maybe don't really want to do more deep, meaningful relationships, might kind of tap into their emotions more superficially, like use them kind of and tap into them a little bit, but you know, maybe not really invest time, energy, and effort to kind of get connected in with their emotions, work through their emotions, and then, they can choose to live their life that way. And other people find it confusing to be a human being, but they do. It's whatever we put work and effort into wanting to master and emotionally grow and mature ourselves in. And some people can, just like some people have the capability to invest in their own unique talent, skills, and interests. That would be like the suit of the pentacles. I could put work and effort to kind of grow and heal and mature myself and my unique talent, skills, and interests, and my job experience and my education. And some people are like, yeah, I don't really care to do that. you know, it all just depends on who people are, and how they decide they want to live their life. So everybody taps into Scorpio energy. This might be a story of what's going on in Scorpio energy right now. It could more affect people who are a Scorpio sun sign or have significant Scorpio placements in the astrological chart, which you just have to like Google astrological charts, and you can type in your birth date and the time of day you were born and the state and city you were born, and you will find out what kind of Scorpio placements you have in your chart. But we all tap into Scorpio energy because, we either keep staying confused emotionally and kind of are more superficial and shallow, or we want to work through the confusion. We don't like being confused, and we maybe want more deep, meaningful relationships. So I view this, so that's funny. The Seven of Cups is Scorpio energy. And then at the heart of the reading is the Five of Wands, which could be inner conflict about, and some people do have inner conflict, and life's about learning these lessons. And the Five of Wands is Leo energy. We can operate more from our defensive egoic nature or immature nature. And if we do, sometimes we come in contact. Over here, we have the Three of Wands, the Six of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles. That can be, gee, there's people. I could either invest in myself emotionally, is what the Queen of Pentacles can talk about. The Queens talk about how we think and feel. I could get inspired within myself, because the Three of Wands is Aries energy, which is about the self. I could get inspired within myself to put in some work and effort. The Six of Pentacles is Earth sign energy, about kind of putting in this work and effort, investing time, energy, and effort. I could get inspired within myself to put in this work and effort to get more balanced within myself and kind of emotionally grow and mature myself and work through to get more clear, work through my own mental conflict is what the Five of Swords can talk about. But the Five of Swords and the Star card are both Aquarius energy, which can kind of talk about how we view life, if we kind of hold ourselves and kind of have more hope and faith and belief in ourselves, or do we not? Do I have hope and faith and belief in myself? Do I have hope and faith and belief in others? Do I have hope and faith and belief in love? Do I want to do love? If I do love, I get hurt. Some people might decide, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. I have mental conflict about that. I'd have to work through this emotional confusion. I'd have to be inspired to maybe get more balance within myself. Because if I do get in a relationship with people who are more inspired within themselves, and they've done that work and effort to be more balanced within themselves, and they've kind of emotionally grown and matured themselves, they're going to want me to be in that energy. And to authentically be in that energy, you'd have to do this work within yourself to kind of grow up and emotionally mature yourself, and maybe work through some issues within yourself or issues from your past. We've all been in relationships with people where shadowy magician could be where, and shadowy Aquarius, where we could have dealt with people who we could have viewed as people we could have our dreams come into reality with. I don't think I kind of mentioned that. Aquarius can be about our dreams that we have, and the Three of Wands can also be about these dreams that we have. We've all dealt with people in our past that we wanted those dreams to come into reality with. Whether they were our brothers, our sisters, our mom, our dad, our cousins, our friends, our neighborhood people, other people we worked with, jobs that we had, whatever the case might be. Some of those relationships, we're still in friendship and relationship with some of those people. And we do have more just, fair, balanced, maybe loving and encouraging relationships with those people. But there's some people in our life where it didn't really work out that way. And the Eight of Swords can talk about that it can still kind of have us up in our head about it. You know, why weren't those people inspired to invest in me and work with me and be friends with me or date me or marry me, right? And the Five of Wands comes after the Four of Wands, and the 2, the 3, and the 4 are all Aries energy. You know, and people have to be inspired within themselves. To get to the Five of Wands, we would have been in the Four of Wands, which is kind of our foundation of ourself. Why weren't those people adding the 1 wand to the 4 of Wands to make the 5 of Wands? Why weren't those people inspired within themselves to work with me, to bring a dream into reality? And if some of those people were people that, you know, we really wanted to have a more just, fair, balanced, loving relationship with, again, whether they're our adult child, brother, sister, mom, dad, whoever, why didn't those people want to have this kind of relationship with me? And sometimes that can really bother us, and some people it bothers them a lot. Other people, it bothered them. The Five of Wands can talk about that we have inner conflict. The Five of Swords can talk about that we have mental conflict. And the Five of Swords comes after the Four of Swords, which is Libra energy, about the scales of justice. We wanted things to move forward. We wanted things to be just and fair. And the Four of Swords of Libra talks about healing a relationship, right? And being more just and fair in it. And if we wanted, and we were inspired with on ourselves, that we wanted to heal that relationship, and we wanted to move forward with it in a more just and fair and emotionally balanced, mature way, why didn't they? And the Seven of Swords and Scorpio energy that can be that we find it emotionally confusing. Why do they act that way? Why didn't they want, and so the whole thing is, everybody is where they're at. There's some people in the world that, they have these same situations in their life. And they've had people in their life that maybe weren't very just and fair or loving or nurturing and they have that same confusion and mental conflict about people in their life. And then that in turn impacts how they relate with other people. And just like when we have this inner conflict and this mental conflict about people we've dealt with, it kind of impacts how we interact with other people that we could have that kind of relationship with, because these ones didn't quite work out the way we wanted. And sometimes, we can wonder, you know, did they not think I was worth investing in? Uh, do they not view me as a shining star in a way, or didn't value me or something, right? And I think what high vibe people have experienced that too. It's just that over the course of their life, having dealt with these kinds of situations in their life, they don't like feeling up in their head about it. And the magician can talk about these things that manipulate us. And it makes us feel this way, and in high vibe, the Five of Swords talks about, I did meditate on the truth about things that kind of broke my heart and things that I didn't think were just and fair. And I worked through all of that. And they harnessed high vibe Gemini energy. Gemini energy of the 8 and the 9 and the 10 of Swords is that aspect within ourself about our dualistic nature. And I have the free will, which is what our Gemini dualistic nature, free will, talks about. I have the free will to keep being in mental conflict and inner conflict about some issues from my past. And I can keep staying confused. Or high vibe magician that we can harness, other people might have harnessed. Oh, and the magician is also Gemini and Virgo energy. And Virgo energy can talk about that, well, Gemini and Virgo can talk about everybody has their free will. They've all got their issues. They've got their past. They've got their fears, their insecurities, their past pain and heartbreak, their pride, their ego, their stubborn nature, their prideful nature. We are these emotionally complex human beings. And some things that kind of manipulate other people aren't things that manipulate us. And some life experiences that other people have gone through that can affect how they view life and how they want to live life might not be situations we went through, and some of those things that manipulate them don't manipulate us. But high vibe people see the truth, and that's what high vibe Five of Swords talks about. I've meditated on the truth of the matter that just like when I've been more immature, shadowy, stubborn, prideful, full of myself, whatever, other people were in a mental prison about working with me and they were confused why I was acting like that. And I have dealt with people who have acted like that. Well, what kind of person do I want to be? And the fives talk about change. Am I willing to change? Am I willing to emotionally grow up and mature myself? And high vibe energy is about willing to learn these lessons in life. And in high vibe, that's what the pentacle can talk about. That you've gone through these life experiences, you had your growing and maturing to do, other people had their growing and maturing to do. Some people did do it, and some people in our life were very loving and encouraging to us. And we at times and at different phases of our life have been more loving and encouraging and mature than maybe at other times in our life, right? And then we could know some people who never really worked through these issues to be more just and fair and balanced and emotionally mature. And just like we've had people like that in our life, the people that we know had people like that in their life. And then just how well did we kind of work through those issues? The truth sets us free. And the one pentacle can be, I saw the truth. And it's our Virgo nature that does that work within ourself to go within and deal with these things that keep us in a mental prison, cause us inner conflict, get us in our ego, cause us mental conflict, and are confusing. So high vibe people decide to emotionally invest in the truth. I'm going to offer love to the situation, to heal, to see the truth of it. And the truth is, I am dealing with all these people in the world that are where they're at, got their issues. Some of those people everybody's got the free will to work through some of those issues within themselves to come out like on the other side. We've all dealt with people who could have been in shadowy Five of Wands energy, which can be people operating more from their ego nature. Immature, prideful, defensive, egotistical, competitive, selfish, lazy, want reward without effort, want to be indulged, prideful, egotistical, whatever. From the Five of Wands down to the Three of Wands is letting go of the Two of Wands, which can talk about, I had a dream, just like the Aquarius card here can talk about, I had a dream. My dream can only come into reality with other people who've kind of done this work within themselves, and that's where the Virgo energy is important in the Magician card. Did other people I could have been in relationships with, were those people, they had their issues, but some of those people kind of never had inner conflict maybe about dealing with the truth. You have to be willing to look at those things. Look at those things we keep hidden in the dark about ourselves, or things we don't maybe want to see the truth of others, because emotionally we could love them and have love for them. Again, adult, child, mom, dad, brother, sister, friend, family, romantic interest. I have a hard time. I have mental conflict about seeing the truth. Because again, in high vibe, the pentacle is about the truth. And our Virgo nature goes within to look at these things. And we offer truth and love to those things to deal with the truth. I have to be willing to see the truth that everybody else is a fallible human being who has their issues. Some of them were inspired to do work within themselves, to kind of see the truth of some of the things within themselves and life things that they'd experience, to kind of work through it, and to decide that just because I've dealt with people that weren't maybe very just, fair, loving, maybe manipulative, maybe prideful, maybe competitive, like to live more from their mind than their heart, emotionally shallow, superficial, maybe more about themselves, a little more transactional, that I could have felt like I never did have a deep, meaningful relationship with them. And partly it can be because those people are never going to do maybe a more deep, meaningful relationship. You know, we have to deal with these issues within ourselves, and we have to heal, and we have to see the truth of it, and we have to see where we needed to heal and grow and mature ourselves, and how other people in our life might have needed to grow and heal and mature themselves. We can all, shadowy energy can be where we're more manipulated by our worldly egoic nature. Being full of ourselves, being immature, thinking we can just manipulate people to get what we want, maybe be competitive or bossy or controlling, or and some people, they live their life that way all their life, and they never, you know, shadowy energy can be kind of like shadowy Eight of Swords of Gemini, which this person is living emotionally, because it's a feminine figure. Doesn't matter if they're male or female, but emotionally, they could like to live more from their mind and their heart. And they have a blindfold on, and that's shadowy energy. So if people harness their Gemini free will nature in a more shadowy way, I have these issues within me that manipulate me, but I don't want to see the truth of it. So they could have their own inner conflict. They could have their own mental conflict about themselves, about other people in their life, people from their past. And they can decide, I don't want to deal with it. I'm going to choose to operate from my ego. I don't think I have to deal with it. And they have the free will to do that. They don't have to deal with it. But it's going to keep causing them kind of this inner conflict or mental conflict. And other people who want to be in a relationship with them might perceive them as a much more stable, grounded, just, fair, emotionally mature person. But then it's kind of confusing to be in a relationship with them, because the other people can see that they have these things that cause them all this kind of inner conflict. And, again, we can be encouraging, we can be friends with people. The Six of Pentacles can talk about that we can work with people and try to do equal give and take with them. And the Queen of Pentacles, whether we're male or female, emotionally, we could try to offer truth and love and encouragement to people. But we can't make other people change. They have to be inspired within themselves to want to see the truth of the things that manipulate them. And if they don't choose to do that, they could think, I don't have to deal with it. Let's just keep moving on. But it keeps affecting them, and the actions that they take, the decisions that they take, the way they think, the way they feel, all those things are influenced by some of these issues. Let's go look at what some of these issues could be. And that could be these two cards. And sometimes when we get in relationships with people, the Magician can be that, yep, some of these things happened. And I might be in a little mental prison about it. I might have inner conflict about it. I might have mental conflict about it. But something didn't work out the way I wanted. But, I need to go look for a new job, a new friend, a new relationship. Because I have this dream I want to bring into reality. So then they go exchange resources with someone else to try to manifest these things that they want to manifest. Well, we've all gone through situations where a job, friendship, or relationship didn't work out, right? Some people really had done the work within themselves to, even though some of those things could have caused them mental conflict, they kind of dealt with the inner conflict and the truth of the situation. There was something that wasn't working out, and they were willing to see the truth of it. My dream can only come into reality with people who are kind of willing to work together with me and kind of motivated and inspired by the same things I'm kind of motivated and inspired by. And both the Six of Pentacles and the Queen of Pentacles is Taurus energy, which can kind of talk about our philosophy of life. And if I have a certain philosophy of life, I'd like to be in relationships with people who have a certain philosophy of life. If part of that is that I have this dream where maybe I want to be in more emotionally balanced, emotionally mature, loving relationships, well, maybe those people weren't wanting to do that. Whether it was a workplace, Taurus energy can kind of represent all these different institutions of the world. Maybe some of the people, friend, work, whatever, maybe some of those people weren't kind of emotionally mature or more just or fair or balanced in the Six of Pentacles. Well, I don't know if I want to keep working with those people. So when I left that situation, yeah, did I have fear about change? And, because we'd all like the things that we've invested in to work out the way we wanted. But that doesn't work out that way. So high vibe people weren't willing to give up on their dreams. They just realized that their dream couldn't come into reality with certain people. So they probably had done this work within themselves to kind of work through that. I have a dream I want to bring into reality. If it can't come in to reality with these people, because kind of, what we want to invest our time, energy, and effort into, and kind of what we want to manifest is different. And that can be a lot of things. Some people could be more competitive. Some people could be more worldly focused, ego focused, materialistically focused, self focused. Some people want to win at all costs and they don't really care who gets hurt. Some people have a lot of mental conflict about investing in truth and love and being just and fair. Some people have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. Whatever it is, it didn't work out. And even though I wish it would have worked out, it didn't. I accept the truth of it. I've kind of worked through some of those issues to see that we weren't on the same page at the same time. And those people were willing to commit to the next new thing they got involved in. And some people are doing that right now. It just depends on where people are in this story. And some of the people in our life, they did that too. And with some of those people, we're still in friendships and relationships with them because they too realized, yep, we could all be working at the same job right now. Yep, those other jobs didn't work out. Maybe caused me some mental conflict. Some people there, maybe things weren't working out right with. High vibe people kind of listen to their intuition, which can also be high vibe Gemini and fire sign energy, and emotional water sign energy. I have a dream, and if I'm working together with people and things don't seem to be working out, I don't want to give up my dream. I just need to find people who are kind of more on the same page and kind of motivated and inspired by the same things I am. And while some people did that, some other people never did. And just like those people had situations that didn't work out, sometimes we're in workplaces with those people, they're in our family, they're in our neighborhood, they're in our community of some sort. And then we're dealing with some people who never quite worked through some issues of their past still, and they're kind of bringing it with them, kind of creating an illusion that, oh no, I worked through my stuff too. Oh yeah, no, I worked through whatever those things were, and I'm ready to work here and invest in this friendship, relationship, or job, just like you folks. But really, they still have some things that haven't worked out, right? So the difference is that some people did this work within themselves to work through some of these issues of their past. And some people are hiding that they still could harness these energies in a more worldly, shadowy way because these issues from their past still have a significant impact on them. What are they? Ten of Wands in reverse and the Tower in reverse. So when a card is in reverse, it can mean extremes. And so the Ten of Wands, the different ways the Ten of Wands can be interpreted. Um, that some people harness a more shadowy Sagittarius energy. High vibe Sagittarius is about learning lessons, being inspired to grow and heal and mature yourself. We can meet some people, they are not inspired to grow and heal and mature themselves. you know? No, everyone else needs to change, not me. Or it can just be also immaturity. And some people are really immature, but they can try to hide that they're really immature. And people get in a relationship with them, and then as time goes by, they kind of realize they created an illusion like, oh, I'm not more really immature. And then you find out they are. They're immature, they can be bossy, controlling, stubborn, egotistical, full of themselves, defensive, uh, and it can be like a immature player. I want all the perks that come from being in a more just, fair, stable, balanced, loving relationship. Oh, but by the way, I kind of really am immature and I think I can just manipulate people to get them to do what I want, you know? And then the people they're in a relationship with are like, wait a minute, I think I kind of have a problem continuing to move forward with you as an employee, or you being my boss, or being in a friendship or relationship with you because you created this illusion. That's what the magician does, right? And that's what people in shadowy energy do. They try to create this illusion that they're this much more just, fair, balanced, stable, emotionally mature person. Your dreams will come into reality working together with them. And then you kind of find out, I don't think you were telling the truth. I think you were trying to emotionally confuse me about the truth of who you are. And again, some people, you know, don't want to put in the work and effort. That would be Ten of Wands too. I want to grow and heal and mature myself. High vibe Ten of Wands. I am motivated and inspired to change. I am motivated and inspired to grow up and mature myself. I am motivated and inspired to look at life from a higher perspective, to put things in perspective, to work through my inner conflict or my competitive nature or my prideful nature or my stubborn nature or issues from my past. I want to heal. I want to feel more healed and stable and balanced within myself. That takes a lot of work and effort. You have to invest a lot of time, energy, and effort to work through these things. And so shadowy energy can kind of be people who want to cheat the justice system. Well, that would all take a lot of work and effort, and I don't want to put in that work and effort. I know. I'll just create an illusion that I've changed and that I've healed and that I've grown and matured and that I'm more stable and just and fair than I really am. And then hoping if they get in a job, friendship, or relationship with people, and those people also, when they have invested in something, they also would like those things to work out the way they wanted. And then as time goes by and this is happening, well, then those people, whoever it is, a friend, a relationship, an employer, somebody promoted in a position or went into business with, it's just like, oh my gosh, I really would like this to work. So they put in this work and effort to be like loving and encouraging and supportive, hoping things will change. Well, what if things keep never changing? And the difference between the Six of Pentacles and the One Pentacle is the Five of Pentacles. And the Five of Pentacles can be that you're working with people, again, in their philosophy of life, where they maybe do have a philosophy of life that maybe they don't have to detach from this philosophy of life, where they don't really have to grow up and mature themselves or be more just or fair or be more authentic or truthful or loving, and that'll all just work out. I definitely think shadowy people sometimes try to manipulate more just, fair, loving people who, in high vibe Taurus, try to act with character and integrity. And they know they're acting with character and integrity. And they have a hard time telling other people that, I don't know that this is going to work out. And so they can have this the high vibe people can have the inner conflict about communicating their truth to people who they think kind of are trying to manipulate their more loving nature. And I think that's what shadowy people do. Because at the big picture, shadowy energy is kind of represented by the devil. I want to try to manipulate loving people for them to indulge me in my shadowy ways of being. I don't want to grow up. I don't want to temper my ego. I don't want to have to change. I don't want to have to heal. I don't want to have to get more balance within myself. I like shadowy energy, by definition, would be that they're kind of tipped out of balance. And that's what the sevens can talk about. Some people are more tipped in favor emotionally of aligning with their being inspired by justice and fairness and truth and love. And some other people are kind of tipped in favor of it being more about them or them being indulged, or, and that's kind of their truth and that's their idea of the dream life and dream relationship. And I think shadowy people, if they can get loving people to indulge them, it's like, so you're going to be more like just and fair and emotionally mature and loving, and I get to be more shadowy. Oh my God. This is like, oh yeah. I am really going to think really hard about how I can get you to be inspired within yourself, to work with me and move forward with me and buy into the illusion that I'm like you and more just and fair and emotionally mature and loving, because that's my idea of the dream relationship. I get to be kind of immature and shadowy, and you're going to be just and fair and loving. It's like, damn, that would be awesome. And the shadowy people are hiding in the Tower card that they don't harness high vibe Gemini energy. They harness a more worldly shadowy Gemini. In their free will, they're more tipped in favor of kind of being more about themselves, or more for the ego or the image or the status in the world. Like, I want this job, or I want to be your friend, or I want to date you or marry you. Shadowy Five of Wands, because I have inner conflict about love. And this, though, would be really good for my ego and my image and my status. And that would look like my dreams have come into reality. But I have mental conflict about love and doing more deep, meaningful relationships. And I also just might have problems with being more just and fair. And I might be kind of competitive. And I might kind of be more about myself. And I kind of really maybe want it more my way or the highway. And I'd really like to be in a relationship more where I could just manipulate someone to get what I want. But the shadowy people don't want to be in a relationship with someone like themselves, because then that person would be kind of immature or more about themselves, or more, shadowy people. We all can want to be in relationships with people who are more just and fair and loving and encouraging. But the shadowy people, that's not the truth of who they are. But they want to be in relationships and workplaces with people like that. That's not really the truth of who they are. And some of them could be very immature or very overwhelmed because they really want these things. That's what really drives and motivates them. Some of them are very imbalanced in the Tower card, very unstable. And because of that, some other people weren't willing to keep moving forward with them because they saw the truth. The Tower's about other people saw the truth, and they didn't want to keep moving forward because in high vibe, the Ten of Pentacles is continuing to move forward. But the other people were the people having to put kind of in all the work and effort, because the other people don't really want to put in the work and effort to harness high vibe energy to build a solid, stable foundation. How about you put in all the work and effort, and shadowy energy can be, I kind of want to indulge in it. And I might be immature, and I might be unjust, and I might be unfair, but I'm hoping, because you're a loving person and you might have love for me, regardless of who I am to you in your life, I think you'll be in a mental prison about maybe speaking your truth, that you kind of find this maybe not so just and fair. And to kind of, in the Five of Swords, stand up and defend your truth and yourself from people who are being kind of shadowy and manipulative. Because they could know some people would like it to work out. Again, whether it's family members or friend or whoever, you'd really like it to work out. And you were emotionally invested. And that's what some people try to play on. I want to play on the fact that I don't think you want to become independent of me, because that's what high vibe energy is. And you could know some people that could have a lot of inner conflict and mental conflict about seeing the truth about people they're in relationships and friendships with, that could kind of manipulate them. And they have a hard time kind of standing up for themselves and people in their life and becoming more independent of those people in their life. Because shadowy energy is also being more codependent. And you could know some people that you wanted to be in a relationship, were in a relationship with, wanted to marry, did marry, because the King and Queen of Pentacles is only married through the deck. But you also could have also been at a job that you would have liked to stay in. But someone there has some issues that make other people not want to stay there. But some of the other people kind of keep indulging someone, kind of codependent on them, unwilling to become independent of them. So, the people who don't want to see the truth, who have inner conflict about standing up for truth and justice and fairness, and calling out some people who are being manipulative or bossy or controlling, they don't realize they're kind of shooting themselves in the foot, because the more high vibrational people in that friendship group, in that workplace, in that neighborhood or whatever, or city or town or state or country, are going to leave. And they're going to be stuck because they don't want to see the truth, how something in their environment manipulates them. And for some people, what manipulates them, that they do not want to see the truth of, can just be their own shadowy nature. I have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship. I have a fear of love. I have a fear of change. I have this illusion, and I have this dream, and I think I can get in relationships with people, But I don't really have to do love because I have inner conflict about love. Well, if you're going to be in a romantic relationship, it should be because of love. But some people really have a problem with that because you get hurt doing love. And they could be up in their head about love. And so then they think, I'll be happy with the illusion. And I need to find someone to get in a relationship with who might have their own inner conflict and mental conflict about believing in themselves and their dreams, who will kind of indulge me in a relationship and let me be more about me. So that can be kind of shadowy Aries and shadowy Aquarius, where it's like, I'm kind of more the most important person. Everybody else should put aside their pride and ego, but not me. It should be more my way. And that's a shadowy Taurus relationship where it's a more transactional relationship. Because if you were going to do a relationship based on love, well, you are you, and you have your dreams and aspirations. You have your own unique talent, skills, and interests and dreams. I have mine. And then we're supposed to work together to be loving and encouraging so that we can both kind of like grow to our full potential. And some people definitely got mental conflict about that. And some of those people were already in relationships with people who are like that. And it's like, well, that's not my idea of the dream relationship. That would mean I would have to change and I'd maybe have to heal and heal from these illusions that I have about relationships where I think it should be kind of more about me. And other people should turn their back on their own dreams and just make their life more about me and it's more my way. So there's some people also hiding that they could be overwhelmed. They could be aligned with their more shadowy nature. Some of them more unstable than others. But they don't ever want to detach. The tens, and this is the 10 of Wands, can be about closing out a cycle. But you have to see the truth of something that it's time to let go of it in the Tower card. And some people are like, no, I don't want to close out the cycle, and I don't want to see the truth of what I need to let go of, which can be these illusions that they have, either being kind of full of themselves or thinking it should be more about them, or their fear, or their insecurity, or their pride, or their ego, or their past pain and heartbreak. They don't want to put in the work and effort to work through those things to see the truth of it, to see what it is that causes other people to have conflict about working with them. And we've all worked with different people in workplaces or friendships or in our community that is like, oh my God, this person does, they're like clueless that they have these kind of shadowy ways of interacting with people. You know, we can live in denial all we want. I can be bossy. I can be prideful. I can be full of myself. I can be manipulative. I can be competitive. I can be hurtful. I can, I can be so much more about these things I want to indulge in because I'm sure that's kind of what the pentacles can mean too. Things of the world that you want to indulge in that you're sure will make you happy and make it look like you're living the dream life. And other people are like, yeah, you go do that, and I'm going to go find some other people to be in friendship or relationship. You might think you're amazing. You might think this makes you look like you're living the dream, but I think it's you not seeing things clearly. And I'd rather be in a relationship with people who harness some high vibe, Gemini and Virgo. Some other people who did close out a cycle. They did wrap their brain around this game of life. They did work through these illusions and their fears, and some of their past pain and heartbreak are being full of themselves. And those are people I could really manifest a dream into reality with because they're insightful and mature and, you know, they've changed. And from the Eight of Swords down to the Five of Swords, they work through past pain and heartbreak, because in between these is the Three of Swords, and the Three of Swords can talk about past pain and heartbreak. And they've worked through that and they've healed. I want to be with someone who's healed. And so while we can let more shadowy people continue on with their life, we're looking to find people that are more on the same page, someone that we really could maybe have our dream come into reality. And, some people could be in a situation right now where either just trying to decide between who more to invest their time, energy, and effort into, or if they have different job opportunities to make that decision. And high vibe people are not trying to be more manipulated by their more worldly nature, materialistic nature, pride, ego, fear, insecurity. They're offering truth and love to themselves to work through this, to work through the emotional confusion. What is my truth? What is my dream? Who are the people in my life? Who does more equal give and take with me? Who wants to have me work there, be their friend, be in a relationship, date them, marry them, more out of their fear, insecurity, or codependency, or more for the ego or the image? Who are the people in my life that I could be in a relationship with or am thinking of being in a relationship with, but I'm more influenced by the status, the ego, the image? If we make decisions more not inspired by truth and love, we're probably going to get in relationships with people who are happy that we're not more inspired by truth and love, because they aren't either. And if we do make decisions more out of truth and love, and also being willing to see the truth that some of the people we might want a dream to come into reality with, but that's not where they're at yet, and they got some growing up and maturing to do, that's when some people could be like, I might like you, I might be attracted to you, but I've already been in relationships with people who are more immature or more conflicted or like to live more from their mind than their heart, or have a lot of things that manipulate them in their life. And until you work through that, you stay in the friend zone. You're just a person that I know that I can be loving and encouraging and supportive to, but I'm going to keep investing in my truth and my dreams, because I don't know if you're going to work through this or not. And if you don't, I've already been in workplaces, friendships, and relationships with people that hadn't worked through it, and I was hoping things would change, and things didn't change. Because people are the way they are because they have kind of made this free will choice within themselves to act certain ways, think certain ways, feel certain ways, be motivated and inspired to, based on the truth that they have, how they view life, how they view themselves, how they view others, what they think is just and fair. And I've already been in relationships with people where we were kind of on these different pages. But I might have gotten in a relationship with those people, and then I had to get myself out of it. And it was really hard to get myself out of it. I am this emotionally complex human being. I do not want to get myself more emotionally entangled with someone until, these issues are worked through and I get to know you hopefully well enough to see if we're really kind of more on the same page or not. And when some people are maintaining this energy and maintaining kind of in the Six of Swords of standing up for themselves and their truth and their dreams and what kind of relationships they want, which in high vibe Taurus, if it's a romantic relationship, it should be based on truth and love. And love is to be just and fair. And you're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. And if it's a workplace or even friendships, it is supposed to be kind of encouraging and supportive for everyone to have these opportunities and to be loving and encouraging to each other in their own unique things to kind of be the best version of themselves. And if that's not the truth of some people, it's kind of we accept the truth of it. If some people are more manipulative, if some people are more competitive, if people are more petty or envious or jealous or full of themselves, or it's got to be all about them, or, with some people, we can understand that some people got their own issues. And so long as they're not being too difficult, kind of like, again, in a community or in an organization or a workplace or our own family, we can still get along with them well enough. But we still might kind of be a little defensive to them because they maybe already shown us that they're kind of immature or manipulative or competitive. Other people, we might just see that they kind of seem to be in a mental prison, and we could see that, it's hard for them to maybe trust other people. Well, so long as they're not doing anything overtly negative, we could interpret their more defensive kind of nature just maybe because of people they've dealt with. But it's like, I'm willing to, but I'm still going to probably invest more of my time, energy, and effort into people who have worked through some of those issues. Can I be high vibe energy is being a good leader in the world, shining your light, being loving and encouraging, maintaining balance within yourself, even when other people might do things that could almost, if you weren't more balanced, could trigger you to get more in your ego about it. And, well, why are they acting that way? And even though they're not doing anything overt, it can just still kind of like they got mental conflict of, and you just like, you know what? They're where they're at. They got their own issues, and I don't know everything going on in their life. I'm going to keep maintaining my balance. I'm going to keep acting in my truth. They can keep doing what they do. And it might stay that way forever with some of the people in our life. And again, with people in our life where it is more of an acquaintance kind of thing, it can be a little irritating, but it is what it is. It's more of a problem with people that at one time we were on the same page, and then it seems to be this problem, and we're don't know why. But the whole thing is, the people, sometimes we can have issues going on, just like other people can have issues going on, and they could have a hard time saying the truth of it. And because, again, they could have things that are overwhelming them, they could feel, but they don't want to tell people what's going on. And they don't have to tell other people. And we could be confused why people seem to have changed, and we thought we were going to move forward together in these friendships or relationships, and that's not happening. And so it's like, you know what, I'm just going to stay in the energy of love so that I don't get in more negative energy about it. And if they ever work that out and want to communicate with me, maybe we'll see where things are at that time. But if it was, and it all depends on the degree of how people were and how people were acting, really shadowy energy of the Five of Swords can be people, again, who want to win at all costs. They really don't care who gets hurt. And you could have not realized with some of those people that they really did think it was more about them. And if you seem to have changed and kind of bought into the illusion of who you thought they were. And then as time went by, you kind of wanted it to be more just and fair, or you just changed and you weren't the same person you were when you got into it, then those people can really not like that. And then they can do all these hurtful and unkind things to try to get you back in an energy or a way of viewing life or living life like you used to. But it's you can't unsee the truth. If you've healed or grown or matured yourself in some way, I'm not the same person I was. And since some of the shadowy people never heal and grow and mature themselves, they don't change. And then they don't understand why other people change. Well, why'd you go and do that? Why did you work through some of your fears and your insecurities? I don't ever work through mine. I just drag them with me forever. But then they don't like that you change because now, it's like someone who was a 21-year-old and now they're like a 35-year-old. I don't think and feel the same way I did at 21. Now that I'm 35, I've emotionally grown and matured myself. But sometimes the people we were in friendship or relationship with, they're still kind of emotionally and maturity-wise still like a 21-year-old. We just didn't know it. Until you keep growing and maturing, then it's like, then they get more competitive with you and they have more mental conflict about being in a relationship with you. And they could like you to go so they can go get in a relationship with someone who is kind of more on the same page as them because you're no longer on that same page. And in order for them to keep moving forward with you, they would kind of have to work through these same issues or their own issues that are different. And in their Virgo Gemini energy, instead of doing that work and effort to see what should come with, what should go, what are kind of some building blocks of my life or ways of thinking and feeling or acting or behaving that aren't conducive to a more just and fair and emotionally mature relationship. And some of them are like, I never wanted that kind of relationship to begin with. So I'm going to go do this. But the more immature or prideful or egotistical or entitled some people are, the more hurtful and unkind they can be, even though the people that were in their life were being loving and encouraging. How dare you kind of not view me the way you used to view me? How dare you see through the illusion? How dare you think I need to change? I'm a shining star. I'll go find someone else to be in a relationship with me, male or female. And some people's way of operating in the world is always to try to manipulate people. Let me go find someone who I think might be in a mental prison because things didn't work out the way they wanted. I'll create the illusion that their dreams will come into reality with me. And some of the poor suckers who go take a job that you used to have. And then they get in and they're like, oh shit, this isn't at all like what they said it was. Well, then those people have the free will to decide, am I willing to stand up for myself and what I believe in, or am I going to keep staying in this? And that's their free will choice. And for the people who already got out of it, they dropped the burden and they let go and departed from an unstable foundation. They did decide to invest in believing in themselves and believing in their truth. And even though they had fear about change and fear about their dreams coming into reality, they realized their dream couldn't come in there. And then it's in high vibe Aquarius energy that I have hope and faith and belief that there's more that I have to work with in the world than just these things of the world. And though there was people or a place of business that I wanted a dream to come into reality, if it wasn't coming into reality, I think it's trying, somebody's creating a little hell on earth. It's kind of like high vibe energy represented by God on at the big picture. is saying you have free will. Are you going to stay here? People are showing you this is shadowy. When people are creating a little hell on earth, that means God's trying to create a little heaven on earth, working with the people that align with more high vibrational energy. Go find those people to exchange time, energy, and effort with. Go apply for a different job. Go look for a different friend. Do this work within yourself to get more balance within yourself. See the truth of what drew and attracted you to certain people, and maybe how you didn't have more hope and faith and belief in yourself, or trust even just listening more to your intuition. When your intuition tells you, I don't think this is a good idea, I don't think you should do this, you should go home now. You should listen to it, because your intuition was a gift that was given to you to help you navigate in this world. It's like a part of your soul, your instinct as a animal of the world to let you know this is an unsafe environment. People are not revealing the truth. And you need to listen in high vibe Gemini and high vibe Virgo, that when things cause you inner conflict and mental conflict, don't get caught up in the illusion. Be more tempted by looks or charm or whatever, or fear. Keep investing in your truth, and then high vibe inspired energy will work with you to help you manifest those things into reality. And some of you dropped the overwhelm, dropped an unstable, unsafe, unsecure, imbalanced relationship. You did all this work within you. You've healed. You've seen through the illusion. You no longer view some of those people as anybody. You could have your dream come into reality. And the Six of Pentacles can mean I've exchanged this way of living and viewing my life, and maybe how I used to be in my Virgo, Scorpio, Gemini nature and Taurus philosophy of life. I've completely changed. I'm not the same person I was before. I did reconcile and make peace with issues from my past. I'm free. I'm looking at life differently. I no longer have that way of living life or viewing life or feeling about myself or feeling about those people. Love helped me heal. And I'm ready to invest in my dream. And some people just had to take time to work through these issues before they were ready to go really invest in their dream. They first had to invest in healing themselves, because I don't want to repeat that pattern. So I have to see the truth of what made me get in those situations, what made me stay. And so some people were more immature and unstable. They've done this work within themselves to love themselves, get out of their overwhelm, get out of their inner conflict, grow up and mature themselves. What's coming out for people who harness some high vibe Scorpio energy that they might not see coming up? The Knight of Pentacles, Virgo, the Six of Wands, the Ten of Cups, and the Tower. Why? Because of the Queen of Wands. So the Queen of Wands can talk about emotionally being inspired. I am inspired. I have a dream. I want deep, meaningful relationships. I wanted things to change. And the only person I can offer other people truth and love, but ultimately the only person I can change is me. So high vibe people were inspired by the truth and love. Because again, in high vibe, the Pentacle and Virgo energy talks about seeing the truth. And the truth is, when we're inspired by love and truth and justice and fairness, that's when we get out of our more harnessing this energy in a more shadowy way, being more inspired in our worldly nature. And we're more inspired by our creative, inspired, intuitive, loving nature. And that helps us detach from our more shadowy, egoic nature and detach from being in relationships with people who wanted us to be in that more shadowy energy. and now harnessing this in a more high vibrational energy. And you get out of your ego about these things that didn't work out, and you go have this new beginning that is victorious because you're balanced and inspired within yourself. You've healed, got out of your ego about these things that didn't work out, and you're happy. And then when you're in that energy, and the tens again talk about completing a cycle, you close out an old cycle with the 10 and the tower, because that's not the truth of who you are anymore. Things that you used to invest time, energy, or effort, or people that at one time you thought you were going to be in these long-term, emotionally fulfilling relationships with, you see the truth. Your dream couldn't come into reality because those people harnessed it in a more shadowy way. They wanted to offer you things of the world and operate more from their defensive nature, their egoic nature, but not being inspired by love. And that's an unstable foundation. A house divided can't stand. You both have to be operating from truth and love. And I think as you move forward in that energy, other people know you could go take action more out of fear and insecurity and pride and ego and lust and greed, and you're not. And they know they could too. And there's other people they could be in friendship and relationship with, being in more shadowy energy. But other people have a dream of being in relationships with more emotionally mature people. But it also requires them to do this work within themselves, and some of them have already done it. Some of them are doing it. And as you're moving forward, you're going to meet people who have went through similar experiences. Other people you know could work through their inner conflict, again, whoever those people are in their life. And there's always going to be shadowy people who kind of want to be the next shadowy person to indulge in a relationship with you. But now you've learned to listen to your intuition and stand up for your loving nature. I am willing to get to know people and move forward with people and enjoy friendship and relationship with people, but I'm not going to get in a more involved relationship with someone until I know the truth more about what drives and motivates them, because I don't want to be in a more mismatched relationship again. And as you're doing that, other people see the truth of it. And there's also going to be high vibe people that see the truth of who you are and want to move forward with you in these long-term relationships. And for some people who try to manipulate you, that could really be a shock for them, because some shadowy people in your life could have known you wanted a dream to come into reality with them and that you had love for them. And as you move on, and you had to maybe go through this stage of working through it, and now you're ready to move forward, when you do, some of those people could be shocked, like, oh, I never thought that person would become more independent. I never thought that person was kind of going to move on without me. And it's like, I'm only moving forward with people who want to offer truth and love and are inspired to work together with me in a more just and fair and emotionally mature way. And if that's not you, I wish you peace to hang out with whoever you want to hang out with. So it really, and you could be shocked also that some of the more people in your life who you thought would be loving and encouraging, some of those people will really have a conflict with it, because they don't like that you freed yourself from some things that still manipulate them, and that you might seem like your dreams are coming into reality and shining bright in the world, or seeming more stable and balanced within yourself, regardless of what your socioeconomic class might indicate. You're just more inspired and balanced within yourself. And other people can tell, and they know they don't feel that way. And then they can try to do things to try to destabilize you and cause you conflict and get you in your ego and cause you mental conflict. And you're just like, You can keep doing whatever you want. I've already kind of seen through the illusion of you and people like you. And you can be competitive, you can be petty, you can be manipulative, you can be hurtful, you can be unkind. I wish you peace. Thank you for showing me the truth of who you are. And I'm going to keep moving forward. I'm not going to let people in shadowy energy confuse me about the truth. People either work together with people because they're motivated and inspired within themselves because they're more emotionally mature to work together with people in a more just and fair way, or they haven't learned that lesson yet and they're still kind of more competitive or defensive or manipulative and immature. And I'm not going to stay up in my head about it. You do you, I'm going to do me, and if I have to work together with you, I will. And I'm not going to kind of get in the mud and the dirt with you because that's not how I want to live my life. What's coming up for people who harness a more worldly, shadowy Scorpio energy that they might not see coming? But high vibe people are going to move forward victoriously and happy because they're not investing as time, energy, and effort into people who don't work together with them in that way. And every day I'm not working with people who are being shadowy is a good day. What do the shadowy people not see coming? The Queen of Pentacles, the Knight of Swords, the Seven of Cups, the Magician, the Queen of Wands, the Temperance card, the Page of Wands, the Nine of Cups, the Three of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Queen of Swords. Shadowy people can always have people in their life that at one time were defending them and wanted to be in relationship with them. They weren't interested in their options. They didn't want to manifest, at one point in time, having to work through their own fears and insecurities to be more independent and to free themselves from them. They wanted to work with them and together wanted to do that. But eventually some of the people in their life, they kind of see the truth, is what the Queen of Swords in Aquarius energy and the Queen of Pentacles can be. I want to move forward with you. I am inspired to manifest with you. I could be attracted to you. I could love you. I want to marry you. I want to be friends with you. I want to work here. But you keep being defensive to that. You want to keep moving forward, creating this illusion, being kind of manipulative, operating more from your ego, and you want me to keep balancing out my emotions that you keep wanting to be immature and you keep wanting me to indulge you in this workplace or this relationship. And eventually people are like, I'm done. You can do you and you can harness and defend your philosophy of life. And I'm done. I'm going to go have a new beginning out of love for myself. And I am going to invest in loving and believing in myself, balance out my emotions. Could have been kind of more codependent. Now I got to learn how to love myself and free myself from my own defensive nature to love and believe in myself, emotionally grow up and mature myself, and get out of maybe more codependent energy and let go of this dream. But I'm unwilling to keep indulging people who maybe, again, are either just more about themselves or more about the ego or the image and not really love. I do want to do love. And so I see the truth. I was in a relationship with someone in their worldly nature was more invested in the world, and that's what was most important. It wasn't being inspired in their Queen of Wands energy to look at life from a higher perspective and have more hope and faith and belief and love, but I do. So I see our truth is different. And when those people do that, the shadowy people will be mad because you were supposed to indulge me. I know you're more loving, and I know you wanted this dream to come into reality. But my idea of the dream life is you being more loving and me being more defensive or immature or more about myself. And you are supposed to keep wanting to indulge me, and then they'll be mad and they will go get in a relationship with someone, because the whole thing is they weren't more emotionally invested in it like the other people. Shadowy energy and shadowy Scorpio, it's more superficial and shallow. I use my emotions manipulatively, I use my sexuality manipulatively, I use my words, my charm, my money, my social clout, but it's all more of a mental strategy because I live more from my mind than my heart. So they'll just go get in a relationship with someone else as another part of the plan to try to manipulate people. If you don't do things the way I want, I'll go get in a relationship with someone else. So they really kind of don't care. I don't care that you were just and fair and loving. You're not doing it the way I want. You're supposed to indulge me, damn it. You shouldn't expect me to change or heal or grow or mature myself. And the more those people do that, and the other people are acting with character and integrity, standing up for themselves, every day that goes by is another day that the people work through the illusions that they had about people. You're not who I thought you were at all. And I see the truth of it. And I don't view you as someone I want to have a new beginning with. And I see my dream can't come into reality with you. And I need to go find the people who are more inspired by truth and love. And I get out of my ego about this. Then the shadowy people will be really mad. Because it was all this stuff to try to manipulate and control you. And that's the whole thing. When people are in a relationship, they have the free will to be just and fair, work through their own inner conflict, their own defensive nature, their own prideful, stubborn nature. And some of them said, I don't think I have to do that. It's kind of like the pentacle can kind of be, I started to maybe do some of that inner work, but then I had an idea. Same way with the Five of Swords. I don't think I have to invest in truth and love. I think I can do this instead. I think that'll work. It's worked before with this person and other people. Well, that's a risk people take. And there's another person who it didn't work on. And then the people that they do kind of align with and people they surround themselves with more are other people who are happy they live their life like that, because so do they. They're defensive to deep, meaningful relationships. They just create the illusion they're more inspired and authentic and independent, but they're not. They're more manipulated by their worldly, egoic, defensive nature, or being more about themselves. And they'll probably end up in relationships with people who are willing to be in a relationship with them because those people are in the same boat as they are. And maybe the most important thing is just to be in a relationship, because it makes it look like you have a certain status or image in the world, and you have someone to be in a relationship with, and maybe neither one of them requires each other to grow or heal and mature themselves. And maybe they just manipulate each other back and forth and create the illusion what just and fair and loving people they are, and what a wonderful life they have. Inspired by, I want to live more from my mind than my heart, and the most important thing is to look like a shining star in the world, or have it more about me. And the other people are inspired of detaching from that philosophy of life to invest in being inspired by truth and love. Some people are going to live the life of illusion, and other people are going to be free to live their more authentic life. So there you go, Scorpio. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.